Hello guys, I wanted to take this opportunity to review the L-Pesa ICO, even though I'm not feeling very well, but I think it is important that I do it because I had experience yesterday to join their Telegram, and then I got to interact with some guys on the forum, including the administrators, who are asking me, where are you from, sir? And I'm like, well, Cheptabach. And then they ask me, where is Cheptabach? And I say, well, is that important? So I ignored the question. And then I asked, oh, by the way, are you already selling these coins? Because it says on their website that it's an ICO. And they said, yes, we have coins, and no, we are not selling them. You need a wallet, and then you apply, and we are still at ICO level. We'll be launching in April. And then all of a sudden, I had two guys contacting me offline, offering to sell me coins at around 0.019 to 0.198. So about 20 cents dollar. And my question then was, what does this coin do? Why is it necessary? Could you give me more details so that at least I know what I'm getting into? And they dumped a link to me there to register, which I have just offered to you guys as well in the in the description. And what they basically do is they ask you to register, which is the normal way. So you register for the ICO, providing your email, provide your names, provide your proof of residence by providing a utility bill, and then the other two extra things which I found rather curious were that they ask you also to obtain a letter from government confirming your residency. So at least in Kenyan terms, you would have to go to your assistant chief or maybe your chief or your county commissioner to obtain another letter that you have to scan and upload. And you also have to update your profile, download another wallet. It's an L-Pesa wallet. And the second thing which I found rather curious is they ask you to apply for a loan. In the process of registration, you have to make a loan application. And that loan application then brings in somebody who would be answering your questions on the other side. So ideally here you're registering for an ICO, but immediately you're getting into borrowing money. And when I looked at the ridiculous costs of those borrowings, you're borrowing $3,000 at an interest rate of 65%. And I wonder, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to borrow money at the rate of 65,000 as interest? So I did finally I quit the forum, but not long before I made it clear that I wasn't entirely happy, because my understanding of blockchain technology is that not only does it simplify the service provision. So for example, if banks are a problem to people who want to get access to loans, then microfinance organizations that are offering loans today in the villages shouldn't be doing that at 65%. And at least once you bring in the blockchain technology, what it needs to do then is to simplify and also reduce the cost of doing that. And so I am tempted, I have no other evidence, but I am tempted to call it a scam ICO, only because at the moment they claim that they are still at the pre-ICO stage, but people are busy selling tokens and coins. How do you sell coins that you are still applying for? That was a question I asked one of the guys. If you do not have them now, because my understanding of an ICO is that you make an application, how do you get coins that you are then selling? And why would you sell coins that you buy at 0.01 or 10 cents? You are selling them at 20 cents, and yet the ICO is ongoing. And then, of course, the fact that these loans are part of the application process, which I find incredibly ridiculous. And anyway, for me, I'm not looking for coins. I'm not investing in coins anymore. My strategy for investing in ICOs is to ideally pick on projects that are ongoing, that are seeking to expand into the blockchain. So I invest in things like CopyTrack, which are currently ongoing. They are businesses that exist today, but they want to, exploit and make use of the blockchain technology. It is a business. It is an asset. So when I invest in such, I'm basically buying shares for a company. I invested in Swissborg, which is another incredible product that is going into asset management, because by so doing, my 10,000 or so tokens are ideally giving me a chance to be a shareholder in that company. And so much, there is another one that I just subscribed to the other day, and I joined as well. It's called Festa. So they're going into security aspects of, video and processing of images, etc., which is, to me, one of the future things that will be sustainable, because everybody is getting increasingly concerned about security. The governments are also getting concerned about security, and we cannot rely on humans to ideally pick out the bad guys. So technology has to help us by using facial recognition and machine learning. So when I saw this ICO called L-Pesa, my understanding then was, wait a minute, this is an incredible product which is going to solve access to credit or cheap credit by communities in Africa. And it is active in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, from what I see. But then borrowing money at 65% interest rate doesn't look to me like a very intelligent thing to do. And obviously then the fact that people are already selling coins even before the ICO itself starts is an indicator to me of an ICO that invites a red flag. And so I think what I would like to do is to ask my African colleagues to up their game. There is another one called BitSoko, which is a Kenyan ICO. There is one which is upcoming called Onyx that the owners were not forthcoming with information when I asked about the profiles of the people behind them, because it is about my money, and I don't buy this nonsense about it's one of our own. It's never one of our own in my case, because it is my own money. So it really boils down to that. My money is not charity. It is an investment. I earn it, and I deserve to get the best out of it. So I would ask guys who want to get into projects like L-Pesa to really be very careful and open to understand what it is they are getting into, because you tie yourself to endless loans. Some of them you don't need, just because you want to get excited about an ICO. And then you will realize later that your repayment rate is actually obnoxiously high. So 65% to me is incredibly unreasonable. And I give you a very brief example. At least for the time I have used M-Shwari, I qualify for about 7,500 as my limit. And when I used to borrow 7,500 on M-Shwari, I would have to repay 8,000, about 600 and something, which is to me around 10-11% of the interest rate. So at least it's less than 20. If I borrow with my KCB Akiba, which is what I use now very frequently, because my borrowing level is much higher. If I borrow 20,000 or something like, if I borrow 17,500, I only need to pay back about 600 shillings more in 1 month. So, and if you look at that is ideally, manageable. But then when you talk about borrowing money and then you are refunding at a rate of 65%, to me that is exploitation. And I don't know whether the business model is going to sustain this ICO beyond the excitement of investing in an ICO. And obviously the fact that there are people who are very excited selling coins off and even long before the ICO is concluded, to me is a very clear sign that there is something which is not adding up. And it is obviously something I have no idea what it is. And I leave it to you guys to make your own decisions. I am not a financial advisor, neither do I hold any legal status to advise on ICOs. But be aware of what you are getting into. It's really important that you are very clear on that. Thank you very much.